Hello my dear students, a very good afternoon to all. This is Vasavi Ma'am from NEET World, your biology educator for Foundation and CBSE. I welcome you all to the most interactive live session my dear students. Yes, so once if we quickly recall what we have discussed in the previous class. So in the previous session we have completed the first type of tissue, that is epithelial tissue, and we have also studied about the different types of epithelial tissues like simple squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium, glandular epithelium, and the next stratified, and the next ciliated epithelium. These all are different types of epithelial tissues. We have discussed about it in detail in the previous class. Yes. So coming towards it today's particular session, in this today's session we are going to discuss about the different types of connective tissues, its functions as well as its diagrams. So today we are going to discuss about the connective tissues from the chapter tissues. Okay, it is of from the second chapter tissues of 9th CBSE syllabus my dear students. Yes. So coming towards the connective tissues, so in the connective tissues we are going to learn about some different types. Okay, these are classified into some different types like loose connective tissue. Yes. So once we will recall it in a short form, then later we will discuss about it in detail. Yes. So these connective tissues are based on the presence of the matrix. Okay, we are going to learn about it in detail, what is matrix and what are the cells present inside them. About all these things we are going to learn. So now if we look into these pictures, connective tissues are classified into many types like loose connective tissues, dense connective tissues, supportive connective tissues, and the next fluid connective tissues. These all are some different types. Now we are going to look about it in detail. Yes. So see here, it is a classification of the types of connective tissues. So there are generally three different types of connective tissues. It is the first one is the connective tissue proper. So in the connective tissue proper we are going to learn about four different types of tissues: areolar tissue, adipose tissue, tendons, and ligaments. These areolar tissue and the adipose tissues are called as loose connective tissues. Loose connective tissues. Yes. And the next tendons and ligaments are classified as the dense connective tissues. Dense, I am writing as C and T, dense connective tissues. So these two are the tissues which are going to be classified as loose and dense based on the presence of matrix. Based on the arrangement of the matrix, these are divided into these two types. And the next, coming towards the second type of connective tissue, that is nothing but supportive connective tissue. Yes. So in the supportive connective tissue we are going to learn about the cartilage and bone. Yes. And coming towards the third type, that is fluid connective tissue. Here we are going to learn about the blood and lymph. This is just a small overview about the connective tissues. So now we will look into it. So students, what are actually connective tissues? Why we are naming these particular tissues as connective tissues? Can anyone answer? Yes. So we are naming it as the connective tissues because these tissues are connective in function. It means they are going to bind, okay, they are going to bind with one tissues with the another different types of organs. They are just involved in connecting with one tissue with the another tissue, and they are going to act like binding. Okay, they are going to bind the parts of one tissue with the another types of the tissues. So simply they are involved in connecting in functions, hence we are calling it as the connective tissue. So now we will look into about loose connective tissues. Okay. Yes. So this is a basic definition from your NCERT. So please look into these lines. See, connective tissue is the most abundant tissue. Okay, it is the most abundant tissues as it is going to serve like it is going to connect or bind the cells of the other tissues with other different types of parts. That is nothing but, yes. So the connective tissue is more, okay, the connective tissue is more and it is very abundant in our body. It is present in numerous type and it is going to connect or bind the cells of one tissue with the other tissue. And the next, it is going to give rigidity and support to the body. okay, it is just connective in function. Now just look here my dear students, this is just a skin, okay, this is a skin which is going to cover my hand, okay. This skin is regarded as the epithelial tissue, okay. In the previous session only we have discussed that epithelial tissue is just the covering tissue, or else it is called as the protective tissue of our body. Now this skin is going to bind with the muscles, okay. That skin is going to remain in close association with the another type of tissue, that is called as muscular tissue. Now this skin is going to form as epithelial tissue, this skin is going to connect, or else this skin is going to bind with another tissue, that is called as muscular tissue. So now here we can see it is acting like a connecting link in between one tissue of the cells with the other tissue of the another parts, okay. So this is generally the major function and the just a small introduction about the connective tissue. Now we will look into the different types of loose connective tissues and dense connective tissues. Yes. So first we are going to study about the connective tissue proper. So in the connective tissue proper, we are going to discuss about the loose connective tissue, that is called as areolar tissue. Can you see this? Yes, it is the areolar tissue. We are calling this areolar tissue as a loose connective tissue. What it is called as? Loose connective tissue. Yes. So why we are naming this particular areolar tissue as a loose connective tissue? Yes. So this diagram, okay, so I request everyone to please focus on the diagram given here. Yes. So this is the areolar connective tissue. Yes. Just a minute, students. See, look into this diagram. This is called as the areolar connective tissue. It is the most abundant tissue in our body. So this areolar tissue is going to contain some fluid filled substance, okay. So all this areolar tissue contains some fluid filled substance, that is called as matrix. Can you see here? Yes. Yes, students. Okay. This is the matrix which is present loosely, okay. The matrix is present freely and it is suspended freely inside the tissue. See, now look here, whatever I am drawing. Yes. So this all pale yellowish colored fluid, it is called as the matrix. The matrix is composed loosely in the areolar tissue, and inside the matrix there are some different irregular shaped cells which are going to be suspended freely inside the matrix, okay. So not only one type or two types of cells we can observe, there are some many different types of irregularly shaped cells which are going to float freely inside the matrix. So those cells are of three types, okay. There are three main types of cells which are going to be suspended freely inside the matrix of the areolar tissue. So those three types of cells are macrophages. Yes. Those three types are the macrophages, fibroblast, and the next mast cells. Yes. This is the mast cell, okay. The mast cells, fibroblast, and the next one is macrophages. These three are the very most important types of cells which are going to float freely inside the matrix of areolar tissue. And so now look into this macrophage cell. See, this is the macrophage. Can you see here? Yes. So this is the macrophage which is amoeboid in shape. The amoeboid shape, the irregularly shaped cell is called as the macrophage. So the main function of the macrophage is it is just going to ingest the foreign particles or pathogens which are going to come in contact with this particular cell. So it is called as the macrophage, okay. And next coming towards the another type of cells called as the fibroblast cells, okay. So generally in the areolar tissues we can find two different types of fibroblast. Those are white fibers and the next yellow fibers. White fibers and yellow fibers, these two together called as the fibroblast cells which are present inside the matrix of the areolar tissue, that is nothing but loose connective tissue. Yes, now look into this, children. See this blue colored, okay. This blue colored elongated fibers, can you see this? These are called as the white fibers, Okay, yes. So now these white fibers are made up of a protein called collagen. The white fibers are made up of a protein called as collagen. So I request each and every student to understand the concept clear, because at the end of the session we are going to solve some most important NCERT exemplar questions. So please, I request everyone to focus on the concept. Yes. So the white fibers are made up of protein called as collagen, and the yellow fibers, both the white and yellow fibers are very elongated in nature. So now can you see this? This is the yellow fiber. Yes, here. These are the yellow fibers. So the yellow fibers are made up of a protein called as elastin. White fibers are made up of a protein called as collagen, whereas the yellow fibers are made up of a protein called as elastin. Yes. So now next coming towards the another different type of cell. This is also very most important, I can say. Yes, that is mast cells. So the mast cells are going to perform some different functions. Okay. Inside the mast cell we can find anticoagulants. Okay. So it is going to it is going to prevent the blood clot. And next, another different type of mast cell is vasodilator. Vasodilator, yes. So this vasodilator, it is going to it is going to relax the blood vessels. Okay, it is involved in the function of relaxation of the blood vessels. And next one is serotonin. Yes. So the mast cells are of different types. Those are heparin. Yes, heparin is anticoagulant in function, which is going to prevent the blood clot. And next, vasodilators, and the next serotonin. Serotonin, it is involved in narrowing the blood vessels. It is nothing but it is involved in the contraction, whereas coming towards the vasodilator, it is involved in the relaxation of the blood vessels. Clear with the concept? This is all about the most important three different types of cells which are going to be present and which are going to be flowed freely in the matrix of the areolar tissue. What are those? Macrophages, fibroblasts, and the next one is mast cells. Okay. Macrophages are the amoeboid shaped cells. These are irregular in shape, and the main function of that macrophage is just to capture the pathogens, just to digest and just to receive the pathogens and some microorganisms. And the next, fibroblasts are the elongated cells. These are again of two types, white fibers and yellow fibers. White fibers contains which protein, students? Collagen. And the next, yellow fibers contains a protein called as elastin. Okay. And the next, mast cells are of again different types, heparin, vasodilators, and the next, serotonin. Okay. Anticoagulant. Heparin works as an anticoagulant. It is going to prevent the blood clot. And next, vasodilators and serotonin are involved in contraction and relaxation of the blood vessels. Yes. This is all about the areolar tissue, and then next we are going to study the functions of the areolar tissue. This diagram is very important. Okay, areolar tissue diagram. Okay, it is a type of connective tissue only. It is a loose connective tissue. This diagram you all need to remember mandatorily, because it is going to contain some important questions. Okay, it is very useful for your higher grades also. To build the strong foundation, this macrophage, okay, this particular areolar tissue diagram, it is going to be included in your 10th standard as well as it is also included in your 11th standard. So I request all the students to make it clear here itself. Okay. Yes. So next, coming towards the functions of the areolar tissue. Yes, look into this, children. Here we are going to, yes, here there are some different types of organs. Okay. Yes, here different types of organs are there, like what it is? Stomach. Okay. And the next one, okay, these are lungs, and the next one is skin, and next heart. Okay, these all are some different types of organs which are going to be present in our body. So the main function of the areolar tissue is, it is going to fill the space inside the internal organs. Clear? It is going to fill the space inside some internal organs like stomach, and the next lungs, heart, and the next one is skin. So, it is just going to fill the space and just it is going to pack some substance inside some internal organs. Yes, due to these functions only it is called as, sometimes it is also called as the filler tissue, or else it is also called as the, yes, packaging tissue. Okay, it is also called as filler tissue and packaging tissue because it is going to fill the space inside some internal organs like stomach, lungs, heart, and then next skin. Okay. So, now if you look into this picture, this person, okay, this boy is trying to run, okay, actually he is running, okay, this boy is running. So, now just imagine, now I am writing on the board, okay, it means I am moving my hand and I am writing on the board. It means when we are moving the hands and when we are walking or running, whenever we are performing all these activities. So, now it does not mean that our skin is going to be separated from the muscle and the muscle is going to be separated from the bone, no, okay. So, why means all these parts, okay, like skin, muscle, bones, everything are going to be connected with one another and they are going to give a structural framework to our body to perform some different types of activities in our daily life. Okay. So, these are not going to be separated from one another. We cannot separate the skin from the muscle and we cannot separate the muscle and skin with the bone. It means all these structures, all these tissues are going to remain in close association and they are going to connect with one another to perform all the activities in our daily life. That is the reason we are calling it as the connective tissues. Yes. Yes, now we will look into it. Two more functions, students. See, now by looking to this picture you will get one clear idea. Yes. So, the connective tissue is involved in connecting the skin, okay. It will connect the skin with the muscles. Can you see this? It is a muscular tissue, okay, and it is the skin. It is going to connect or else it is going to bind the skin with the muscle. And then next look into this. These are the blood vessels, right, arteries and veins. So, these blood vessels are going to be connected together with some nerves. It will connect the blood vessels with the nerves. See, this is these are the nerves. So, these vessels are going to be remain or else both are going to remain and they are going to connect with the nerves, and it is also going to be present in the bone marrow. This is all about the connective tissue, okay. This is all about the areolar tissue. It is also called as loose connective tissue. Sometimes it is also called as the filler tissue or packaging tissue, and those are the functions just we have discussed. And see here, these are the NCERT lines from your textbook, students. Yes, it is connective in function. Yes, and it fixes skin with the muscles. Just now we have seen with the example along with some pictures. Yes, and it attaches the blood vessels like arteries and veins with the nerves and surrounding tissues. It is nothing but it is going to bind the vessels with the nerves as well as with some other tissues. And next it is commonly called as the packaging tissue of the body because it is going to fill the internal space. It is going to fill the space inside some internal organs. Yes. So, now next coming towards the adipose connective tissue. Yes, this is also one of the most easiest tissue. Yes, adipose connective tissue. Do you have the general idea what does the term adipose means? It is nothing but fat storage tissue. Okay, the adipose tissue is going to be present below the skin. Okay, beneath the skin we can find the, yes, it occurs below the skin of our body. Okay, it is the adipose connective tissue. It is one of the tissue which is extremely specialized to store the fats. Okay, and the cells in these tissues are modified to store the fat. This is only one of the most important function of the adipose tissue, students. Yes. So, now if you look into this picture, here these all yellow colored structures, these are the cells. Which cells? These are some group of fat cells, that is nothing but these are the adipose cells. Okay, all these cells are going to remain and they all are going to aggregate together to form the tissue called as adipose connective tissue. Okay, these each cell, okay, each adipose cell, okay, it is going to become modified. Okay, each cell is going to enlarge its size and it is going to modify its shape, it is going to modify just due to the storage of fats. Why all this? Now if you look into it, all these cells are generally globular in structure. Can you see? They are getting modified into globular like structure. Why? What is the reason that they are going to gain the shape like a globular shape? Because they are going to store the fats. Okay, fats are going to deposit and it is going to receive the fats, hence it is called as a adipose connective tissue. And each cell, each fat cell, that is nothing but each adipose cell is going to contain the fluid filled substance called as cytoplasm, and then next it is going to contain one nucleus which is present at the periphery of the cell. Clear? And in between this we can find some capillaries, we can find some blood capillaries, okay, which are actually involved in transporting some nutrients and oxygen to the adipose tissue. This is just about the adipose tissues, it is very easy to remember. Yes, and the next, each cell consists of large globule filled with the fats, just now we have discussed, and the next its main function is only to store the fat and then next to insulate the body against the heat. It is going to prevent our body from the heat. Okay, did you understood about the adipose tissue? Only three main functions are there. So in the adipose tissues, the cells are going to gain the globular shape just due to the storage of fats. Okay, just due to the storing of the lipids, they are going to increase its size and they are going to gain the globular shape, and it is going to contain the nucleus at the periphery and it is filled with some cytoplasm, and in between these we can find some capillaries which are going to be involved in transporting the nutrients and oxygen to the cells. Yes, clear? Yes. I will show you the animation video, students, by that it becomes easy for all of you. Yes. See here, initially the cells are in this shape, these all are some lipid droplets, these all are some fat substances which are going to enter into the cells, and then next later the cells are going to swell. Can you see this? Yes, cells are swelling here. Okay, see all the lipids, all the fat molecules, that is nothing but all the fats are going to enter inside the cells, and then next it is going to enlarge, it is going to modify its shape, it is going to attain some globular shape, and this is called as the adipose tissue. This is just a small animated video, just to make the concept clear I have included it. Yes, clear? Yes. Yes, now next coming towards the dense connective tissue. In the dense connective tissue we are going to learn about the two most important tissues, those are tendons and ligaments. So it is very easy to understand. Yes, tendons are some cord like structures. Cord in the sense these are some string like structures which are going to contain some tough inelastic bundles of white collagen fibers. This is also very important statement, students. Tendons are made up of which fibers? Tendons are made up of the fibroblast cells which are present in the tendons are called as, okay, they are called as white collagen fibers. Okay, these are abundant in number. Okay, in the tendons there is more number of white collagen fibers when compared to the yellow elastic fibers. Okay, yes, white fibers are made up of collagen. Okay, and these are some cord like, that is nothing but these are some just string like structures which are going to be present in our body. So now the main function of these tendons is, yes, so the tendons are going to connect the muscles with the bones. Okay, its main function is to connect the muscles with the bones. Now if you see here, this is a skin. Okay, skin is going to be connected to the muscular tissue, and the next the muscular tissue is going to be connected to the bones, right? So here can you see this? Yes, it is a muscular tissue, and to this muscular tissue, to this muscle, bones are going to be attached. Okay, so the connection of the bone with the muscle is called as tendons. Tendons are going to connect the muscles with the bones. Only one important statement. Yes, and next coming towards the ligaments. So the ligaments are made up of some cord like structures. These are also made up of some cord like structures called as yellow elastic fibers, whereas tendons are made up of white collagen fibers. So these ligaments are made up of yellow elastic fibers. These are many in number. In the ligaments, the yellow elastic fibers are more. In the tendons, the white collagen fibers are more. So, the main function of the ligaments is to connect, okay, it is going to provide a connection link in between the bone to bone. When the bones are connected with the, when one bone is going to connect with the another bone, then that particular type of connection is called as the ligaments. Ligament is also a connective tissue which is just involved in connecting one bone with the another bone. This is just about the dense connective tissue. It is very interesting and it is very easy to remember tendons and ligaments. Here what is more? White. Okay. Which fibroblasts are going to be present? White collagen fibers. Here in the ligaments we can see yellow elastic fibers are more. It is connecting the muscle with the bone and it is connecting the bone to bone. This is only the only one major function of tendons and ligaments. Yes. So, now next moving towards the another most important, okay, most important topic, that is supportive connective tissue. Yes, supportive connective tissue. Yes, look into this, students. So, now we are learning about the supportive connective tissues. So, now we are going to discuss about some differences between the cartilage and bone. So, I request everyone to be stay tuned until the session gets end, as it is a very important topic. Yes, differences between cartilage and bone. So, please just look into this diagram. This is the structure. This is a cartilage tissue structure. So, inside the cartilage, yes, inside the cartilage there is a fluid filled substance. Okay, the fluid filled substance which is present inside the cartilage. Okay. So, we are studying all these tissues based on the presence of matrix. Okay, now here we can say the fluid filled matrix present inside the cartilage is called, okay, yes, this is a fluid filled substance which is called as a matrix. So, the matrix present in the areolar tissue is very loosely composed. When we look into this matrix present inside the cartilage, it is somewhat semi-solid in nature. Semi-solid matrix. It means it is not too much loosely composed, but it is somewhat jelly-like fluid and it is somewhat semi-solid in nature. So, inside this matrix there are some specialized cartilage cells, those are called as chondroblast. See, remember this, students? Yes, chondroblast. Chondroblast. These are the specialized cells we can find in the cartilage. Cartilage is made up of a cells called chondroblast. It is also very most important thing to remember, because we can expect this type of questions in the section A, students. Okay, so I request everyone to just note down these statements. Yes, chondroblasts are the specialized cells which are present inside the matrix of the cartilage. Okay, and here we can find some fluid filled spaces called as lacunae. Inside the matrix, okay, inside the matrix there are some fluid filled space structures, okay, those are called as lacunae. So, now can you see this? These are lacunae which are present freely inside the matrix, and inside these lacunae we can find the chondroblast cells either 1, 2, 3 or 4. Okay. So, we cannot say that the lacunae is going to enclose only one chondroblast. Sometimes it may enclose 1 to 4, okay, it may be either more than 2, okay. Yes. Now, this cartilage is covered by the membrane called as perichondrium. Cartilage is, it is going to be surrounded by a membrane called as the perichondrium. Yes, and then next it is made up of abundant, okay, the abundant number of fibroblasts we can find in the cartilage are white fibers. White fibers are made up of a protein called collagen. Clear with the concept cartilage? Yes, now this cartilage is called as the soft skeletal tissue. Okay, why we are calling it as a soft skeletal tissue means the matrix present inside this is somewhat semi-solid and it is going to give some soft structure to our body. It means it is a very flexible tissue. Okay, it is not a rigid tissue, it is just some flexible tissue. we can say it is a flexible and it is a soft skeletal tissue. So, inside this cartilage the fluid filled, okay, the inside the matrix we can find some fluid filled cells or else fluid filled structures, those are called as the lacunae, and each lacunae is going to enclose one cartilage cell, that is called as the chondroblast. This is also very most important to remember. And next, all this cartilage structure, okay, all this tissue is covered by a membrane called as the perichondrium, and in between them we can find the white fibers. It is actually made up of the white fibers which contains a collagen protein. Yes. So, clear with the concept? So, now we will look into these important points. Yes. Cells of cartilage are called as chondroblast. This is most important, and these are embedded in a fluid filled space called as the lacunae, and sometimes inside the lacunae we can find 1 to 4 number of cells also. Yes. So, now next coming towards one more important tissue. Yes. So, actually we need to look into this location also when we are studying about the tissues. When we studied about the adipose tissue, its location is below the skin, and areolar tissue is, it is going to fill the space inside the internal organs. Now, coming towards the location of this cartilage, yes, location of the cartilage is, as we are going to say that it is a soft skeletal tissue, we can find the cartilage in ears, okay, and at the nose tips, and next throat and rib cage. These all are the locations of cartilage. So, students, can you did you observe any time? Now, we can bend our ears in this way, okay. We can bend our ears as it is going to regain its shape again, and we can also move our tip of the nose. Why we are going to perform all these activities? Because these all are going to be considered as the skeletal tissues which are going to contain the semi-solid or else semi-fluid matrix, that is called as cartilage. These all are the cartilage organs. So, that is the reason we are going to easily we can these are the flexible structures, okay. Cartilage is going to give flexibility to some organs. So, that is the reason we can move our tip of the nose and we can bend our ears. Yes. So, it performs the functions of providing, yes, support and flexibility to the vertebrate body. It just gives the flexibility to our body. Yes. So, now next coming towards the one more interesting dense connective tissue, that is called as the bone. It is also very important, okay. All these are just the basics you are going to study in your 9th standard, but these are very most important, okay. So, these are very important for your entrance purpose also, and they are included in 10th standard, 11th standard also, students. So, I request everyone to learn these basics perfectly. Yes. So, this is the structure of the bone, okay. Now, again we need to study how the matrix is going to be present inside the bone, okay. So, inside the bone the matrix is arranged in circular pattern, okay. The matrix present inside the bone is arranged in concentric circles. Can you see this red colored structure, okay. So, the matrix present inside the bone is arranged in concentric circles called as lamellae, okay. The matrix of bone is called lamellae, as they are arranged in concentric circles, and inside these lamellae there are again fluid filled spaces, those are called as the lacunae, okay. At the middle we can find the Haversian canal. So, the main cells, okay, the cells present inside this bone are called as osteoblast, whereas the cells present inside the cartilage is called as chondroblast. Please try to remember, okay. So, cells present inside the cartilage is called as chondroblast, and the cells present inside the areolar tissues are fibroblast. I am just recalling it once again, by that it becomes easy to all of you students, because these are very important and they are going to form a questions in the section A, okay. Fibroblast, yes, mast cells and macrophages, okay. These three are the different types of tissues which are going to be present in different types of tissues. Okay, osteoblasts are the specialized type of cells which we can find only in the bones. Okay, and chondroblasts are the specialized cells which we can find only in the cartilage. And fibroblasts, mast cells and macrophages are the three different types of cells which are going to be suspended freely inside the matrix of the areolar tissue. Yes. Yes, osteoblast, okay, and each lacunae is going to contain the osteoblast, and in the cartilage we have studied that each lacunae is going to enclose one chondroblast cell. So, in the same way here also lacunae are going to be sometimes filled with the osteoblast. So, now this is the Haversian canal, okay, the central circles. This Haversian canal is going to contain the lamellae, lacunae along with the osteoblast. Okay, together we are calling it as the Haversian system. Haversian system contains Haversian canal along with the lamellae, lacunae filled with the osteoblast. Okay, yes. And the matrix is arranged in a concentric circles called as the lamellae, and this bone is also going to be covered externally as well as internally. Bone is covered externally by the membrane called as periosteum, and beneath this, okay, in the internal side it is covered by the endosteum. Clear with the concept? Okay, this is all about just the structure of the bone. Okay, inside the bone the matrix is very rigid. Okay, actually the bone is going to be function as protective in function. It is going to protect all the internal organs which are present in our body. So, now if I example our brain is present, okay, the brain is going to be covered, the brain is covered inside the bony box called as cranium. This is also very important. Sometimes we can also call it as bony box. So, inside the bony box the brain is going to be protected. So, same in this way only the lungs are also the organs which are involved in the respiration, which are involved in exchange of gases. So, the lungs are also going to be protected inside some bony structures that is called as rib cage. So, here just simply the bone, okay, the bone is a rigid tissue. It is a rigid connective tissue which is involved in protective in function. It is going to protect all the internal organs like lungs and the next brain. Okay, not only this, it is also going to be involved in protection of many other internal organs. And the cells present inside the bone is called as osteoblast, and the matrix is arranged in a concentric circles called as lamellae, and the Haversian system present inside the bone is going to be involved. Okay, it is going to be composed of lamellae, lacunae and along with the osteoblast. So, in between this there are some nerve fibers and there are some nerve vessels, there are some blood vessels which are going to be involved in transportation of some oxygen and nutrients to the bone. Clear with the concept? Okay, just while learning this you just compare the tissues. Okay, you just compare the tissues with the previous tissues. You just compare the matrix of areolar, cartilage and the next bone, and coming towards the functions also you have to compare with each type of tissue, by that it becomes easy to understand, students. Yes. Now, we will look into some important NCERT lines. Yes. So, it is a strong and rigid connective tissue. Why it is strong and rigid? Because it is going to give protection. Okay, it is going to give protection to some internal organs. Yes. And next, the bone consists of a living bone cells. What are those? Osteoblast. Okay, already we have discussed it. And next, matrix is arranged in layers. So, when the matrix is arranged in layers, then we are calling it as the lamellae. Okay. And yes, Haversian canals are also present inside the matrix. The lamellae, the osteoblast. What are osteoblasts? The cells of the bone. Okay, the cells which will make the bone. Okay, and these are present in between the lamellae, which is contained inside the lacunae arranged in the circles. Are you getting clear? So, once again quickly I'll just recall this structure of the bone, students. Yes. So, the bone is a rigid connective tissue. It is going to protect all the internal organs like brain and the next like some important organs like lungs. So, the matrix is arranged in a concentric circles. So, that is the reason we are calling it as the lamellae. And then next we can find the fluid filled spaces called as lacunae, and each lacunae is going to enclose the bone cells, those are called as the osteoblast, and it is protected externally by the perichondrium, yes, okay, periosteum, and the next internally by the endosteum. In between this we can find some nerve fibers, okay, we can find some nerve fibers and some blood vessels which are going to be involved in transporting the oxygen and minerals to the bone. This is all about just the structure. Now we will look into the composition of the bone. Yes. So the composition, it is also very important. So how actually the bones are going to look like? Are they soft or they are strong? They are very strong, okay. Bones are generally strong in nature. Why? What is the reason which makes this strong structure to the bones? So here comes the answer. See, if you look into the composition of the bone is generally made up of one protein that is called ossin, okay. Bone is made up of a protein called as ossin, and along with this it is going to be composed of different types of minerals like calcium phosphate, mainly calcium phosphate, okay, and the next one calcium carbonate, sodium chloride, and the next magnesium phosphate. These all are the minerals which are involved in making the strong structure to the bone, okay, and it is made up of protein called ossin. And the next, these inorganic salts are responsible for the hardness of the bone. As I said that bone is going to gain hard structure. We are calling it as a rigid connective tissue, and it is a strong tissue just because due to the presence of ossin protein, and along with this some minerals like calcium carbonate, yes, calcium phosphate, and the next sodium chloride and magnesium phosphate. And the next one, bones mainly helps in protecting the delicate organs. This also we have studied. Yes, see, look here, it is a brain which is located in the bony box called as the cranium, okay. And the next, inside the rib cage we can find the organs called lungs. Not only this, many other things are also involved which are involved in the protection, okay. And see, bone marrow is going to produce the RBC cells. This is also one of the major function you all need to remember. Yes. So this is the most important answer. This is one of the most important answer. We can expect it for the 5 marks or 4 marks. See, look into this, students. Yes. So now this is the answer, okay. It is a major differences in between the cartilage and bone. It is not bone, sorry, it is a cartilage, and this is bone. So now we will look into the differences. See, cartilage is soft, elastic and flexible, okay. Cartilage is soft, elastic and flexible. Why we are calling it as soft and flexible? Because based on the arrangement of matrix. The matrix is very softly composed and it is semi-solid in nature. But when it comes to the bones, it is hard, tough and inflexible. We can bend our ears and tips of the nose. But can you bend some bones which are present inside the hand? See now, this is a bone, okay. Can you bend it? No, okay. Because why? Means it is very hard and it is inflexible in nature. And next, the matrix of cartilage occurs in homogeneous mass. Okay, homogeneous mass means it is present freely inside, okay. It is composed freely and it is present in the uniformly, okay. And the matrix of bone, how it is going to be arranged? In the circles, in the concentric circles. That is the reason we are calling it as the lamellae, okay. And cartilage does not have a rich blood supply, but the bones are going to contain the rich blood supply, because from here the cells, okay, the RBC cells are going to be matured. And next, coming towards the last important function, okay, important difference, that is cartilage is unidirectional. The growth of the cartilage is unidirectional, whereas the growth of bone is bidirectional. Because see here, the bone can elongate, okay, it can elongate in size and it can become wider, okay, it can increase its width and breadth. It can grow in the both directions, that is nothing but it can grow in a bidirectional, okay. The growth of bone is bidirectional and the growth of cartilage is only unidirectional. These are the 4 most important differences that you all have to remember. It is very, very important for the 4 marks or sometimes 5 marks also. Yes. Now here comes the most important NCERT exemplar questions. Yes, these are sometimes these are very important for 2 marks. Okay. These questions you can expect directly in your examination, students. Yes, this is also important for 2 marks. See, look into the first question. What are chondroblasts? What are chondroblasts? These are the cells which are present inside the cartilage. Okay. And next, what are the functions of areolar tissue? Okay. Why we are calling the areolar tissue as a loose connective tissue? It means it is going to fill the space inside some internal organs, and the next it is going to connect. Okay. It is going to connect the skin with the muscles. Okay. Yes. And next, see here, what are the 3 main types of cells found in the areolar tissue? Okay, this is the most important one. I request again all of you to remember this. Okay, mast cells, macrophages and fibroblasts. These 3 are the important cells which are going to be present freely inside the matrix of areolar connective tissue. Yes, name the proteins found in the white fibers and yellow fibers. In the white fibers, which protein is present? Collagen. Okay, inside the yellow fibers, elastin. Yes, clear with the concept, clear with the types of connective tissue. Yes, this is all about the today's particular session. We have just also completed the second type of tissue, that is nothing but the connective tissue. We have studied in detail about the loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, and then next the differences in between the cartilage and bone. So, one more connective tissue is left over, that we are going to discuss in the next upcoming live session, students. In the next live session, we are going to discuss about the fluid connective tissue. Then later we are going to discuss about muscular tissue and nervous tissue. So, I request everyone to be stay tuned. So, please like, share and subscribe to NEET World. Thank you.